and they go and sit outside, and they're discovered 20 minutes, half an hour later, dead. Your heart is beating, but it's not beating efficiently, and you know there's a real danger period of about 15 minutes, depending on the shock that you've received, where your heart is pumping blood, but so ineffectively that you just drop dead.
Well, this is going to be a bit of a weird video, but saying that, I'm in a weird location with some weird people, but they're all lovely though. Right, this video is for a reason, and there's going to be some information in this video that will basically save your life, and it will save somebody else's life. We'll get onto that in a minute. I have learned over the past couple of days by being on a course, and it wasn't because I didn't know because I'm stupid. When it comes down to us talking about it, you will know exactly what we're doing. Right, first of all, where am I? Well, I am at Unimpressed Jeff's and Pixie's Love Pad. Who is here? Well, we've had Rick Beechwood here, we've had Paul in his big yellow van here, Bruce Lauderdale's here, Geeky Phil's here, there's been all sorts of people here, Tash and John. Jeff, aka Aid, aka Unimpressed Jeff, is putting on a basic and intermediate electric course for people who are building vans and stuff like that. He's getting the course together right now, so he invited a few of us down, basically just to check out what was going on. Geeky Phil is here, aka Phil Tomlinson, because I think Phil invented electrics. When it comes to electrics in vans, there's probably two people that know more than anybody, which is Geeky Phil and Jeff. We've also taken the main battery out of our van, which was the EcoTrade 216 lithium battery, because we needed to basically charge it up to its full max and then discharge it overnight. It's roughly taken around about 20 hours for the battery to totally discharge to nothing. I'm going to go have a little look now and I'll tell you exactly what the EcoTrade battery done under test. So, ye big fella here has tested battery. Has it passed the test?
We have, what was it, 98.5% of capacity.
Which is good.
Yeah, 211 amp hours, I think that equates to. So
the 216 amp hour battery is 211.
Yes.
Which is, you know, you're talking a margin. Nobody in the right mind is going to complain of over buying a 216 amp hour battery and it's 211. And if you are,
for Neil.
Apart from me, apparently, according to Philip. Yeah, so the battery's passed the test. We're going to fit the battery back in the van in a minute. Also, these two gentlemen, because he's got one in his van, and we're going to be talking about something in a minute that will basically save your life and somebody else's life. And I'll guarantee you, 95% of you won't even know about it, because I didn't.
that one's been on loan, hasn't it?
This one. Right, so we are now putting the battery back in the van. Need to make a few altercations to some wires because Bruce has messed things up.
We need a stud. Got one of them. Got two of them.
Battery's done.
You'll be right as rain now,
yeah.
Chief.
Now young Philip's going to come over in a minute and he's going to properly check over the BMV to make sure that's all done. Right, the important thing. This is the important thing. Jeffrey is you've been on the course. Well, the beta version of the course.
The beta version of the course, yeah.
Invite a few friends down, some people, you know, who don't know what they may know or may not know what they're doing. And he's been doing a course Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No, it was Saturday, Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah, people arrive Friday night and then full day Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. And then the Monday, well, the Sunday evening you were able to pop on down.
Yeah, so. And then the Monday was mainly, you were doing a relays and the AC side of things. Yeah, learnt loads. People, you know, even like me, you know, I think or believe in my own head that I know certain things. Some stuff you do know, some stuff you didn't know at all, like the little mechanical relay
resettable fuses. Yeah. We had a lot of fun with them, eh?
Absolutely garbage. We got one which was a 70 amp relay, a circuit breaker, 70 amp, and we managed to put 300 amps through it. That's not safe. So all mine in our van are getting taken out, and we're going to actually put proper fuses in. That will be in the next couple of videos, because they, to me, are just damn dangerous.
Yeah.
So yeah, we learned things like that. But the main thing was just, it blew. I think there was 5 people sitting in the room. There was me, there was Paul in his yellow van, there was John from Life Beyond Bricks, another couple of people in there, and we were given some information that totally blew our mind away, and it was about electricity and your heart. And it was mainly concerning the fact that people who have been led to believe a certain thing because of Hollywood and films, which is completely wrong. And I had a conversation with Emma last night, and she didn't know, and she was like, well, that's just wrong. Everybody should know this information that you're going to get now. Every single person should know about it. There's no better person to tell than Jeff himself. So what did you tell us? Were you surprised by the fact that we didn't know?
Most people don't know, but I was surprised that no one knew. There's usually, because the thing is, there was a couple of novices on the course, but on the whole, I invited people who were going to be brutal about feedback, which I knew you'd be, and also, but had knowledge. In effect, to police me. Because if I go down a road where I'm not saying untruths, but I'm not delivering it properly, you're going to correct me. But then we got onto the AC side of things, and I said that people haphazardly mess around with electricity at mains voltage in their house all the time because they've got protection devices in the forms of RCDs, and they may or may not be aware. And anytime they've done something stupid, it's the RCD that has saved them. It's not the fact that mains electric, even if you get a shock, ain't all that dangerous, because it's petrifying if you get it wrong. So the basic premise of it is this: in the same way that through Hollywood movies we know that if you shoot a petrol tank it explodes, right? And then it's been myth busted that it just knocks holes in the tank. It doesn't cause an explosion, but we all know it causes an explosion because of the Hollywood side of things. We also know that a defibrillator can be used as a weapon, right? So if you don't like somebody very much, you can hold the pads to their chest and blow them halfway across the room. And also, if you get a heart attack, and in the Jurassic Park style, you pretty much, that you're done for, you're ended, because you die instantly. And the reality of the situation is that if you receive a mains shock, what happens is the 50 hertz or 60 hertz that you get excites your muscles in the same way as those pads that you stick on your chest to get amazing abs like me. And yourself, of course. Obviously we're using them all the time. That frequency, that mains frequency, excites our muscles. That's how come you end up grabbing hold of a wire and unable to let go if there's power running through it. And that really upsets your heart if you happen to get an electric shock, not just in your hand or in your foot or whatever, but if it travels across your chest. This is where it can be lethal. But it's not that it stops your heart. What it does is it sends it into arrhythmia where it's not working properly. It's still beating and pumping some blood, but very ineffectively.
And you've still had a shock, and you're still in a state of, oh, I've had an electric shock, but I've lived. Now, this is the bit that blew my mind away. So go on, carry on. So
what happens is, say somebody receives a shock on a building site, everyone says, well, why don't you go outside and have a cigarette and just, calm down and then come back to work if you're feeling up to it. If not, go home for the rest of the day. And they go and sit outside, and they're discovered 20 minutes, half an hour later, dead, but with a fag on, like that, just slumped in a corner somewhere. Because what happens is your heart is beating, but it's not beating efficiently, and there's a real danger period of about 15 minutes, depending on the shock that you've received, where your heart is pumping blood, but so ineffectively that you just drop dead after a period. But not once you've received the shock. There's like a delay period, and it kills you you know, over the course of 15 minutes, half an hour, an hour, depending on the severity of the shock and how you're made up. But that's the dangerous bit, that people say, oh, you've had a shock, go have a lie down.
Yeah.
So they, you know, somebody working in the garage gets an electric shock, and their husband, wife, boyfriend, cousin, sister, whatever, might tell them, take yourself off the bed.
Go and walk it off.
And then you walk into them an hour later to check on them to make sure they're all right, and they're dead.
Yeah. That was that blew. I did not know that. I thought, you know, if you got an electric shock and you didn't knock you unconscious or throw you over the room or kill you, you were good to go. That didn't, and I don't think anybody in that room knew that. But then you started talking about defibrillators, which we've all seen them on corners of streets, on pubs, in car parks, in
telephone boxes.
There is defibrillators, and they're becoming more and more common. Now, I believed that had a shock, he's on the floor, he's dead, get the defibrillator, boom. No.
It's the opposite of that.
Complete.
So, just I'm sure the stats show that on a heart attack, the more fatalities are caused by people in the half an hour after an electrocution than actually at the time. But where the defib comes in, it's one of those things that you can't really get wrong. If you've got somebody who's had a heart attack, grab hold of a defib as quickly as you can and zap them with it, because the fun thing is, they won't fire unnecessarily. So if you put the pads on someone's, I'm simplifying here, but only to, you know, there's a bit more to it. I'd encourage anyone now who's watching this to go and see actually how a defibrillator video, because you could really seriously save somebody's life in that instance.
And I believe the courses that local governments and local people run, like that, you know, there will be people, I believe these courses, they'll probably find that they're free.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to go on a defibrillator course through the Red Cross or places like that, you'll probably find that they put them on. I am going to openly look for one now, just off the back of what Jeff's going to tell you in a minute, and what I've learned over the weekend. Because I want to know more about this, because I was led into something that was just so false. It's unbelievable. So,
if you're on a certain building site, a company that runs building sites that I occasionally subcontract for, and you receive an electric shock, you're getting zapped with a defibrillator. There's no, I will leave you 10 minutes and see how you get on. The very minute it's happened, whoever's in charge is going to grab the defib, get you to lie on the floor, put the pads on your chest, and then hit the button on the machine. Incidentally, those machines, a lot of them, like the ones that Phil has got, are barking the instructions to you as to what you should be doing and when you should be doing it. So you can't really mess it up. Very straightforward. You hit the button. If it doesn't fire, then your heart wasn't an arrhythmia. It's that simple. If the button fires, what it does is it shocks your heart, not to restart it, but to stop it. It is literally the IT person's dream. You are literally turning a person off and turning them back on again.
Hard reset.
Because the heart knows how to beat. There's no finer example of muscle memory than a heart. It beats continuously in the same way all the time. It knows what it's doing. It's just that it's got a bit muddled up and it can't reset, and it's desperately trying to, and that's where all the confusion is coming in. So you shock it to stop it, and then it'll start beating of its own volition.
But the defibrillators that we see out in public, you're not killing someone, you are, but you are following the instructions on the machine, and like Jeff said, if there's nothing wrong, it won't activate.
Will not fire.
Also, they also activate, and these things are kind of smarter than most people walking the streets or within medical. These machines know what to do and they know what to look for. They are programmed to read everything that's going on in the body within the heart. So you could actually kill someone by not doing it, whereas electric shocks are concerned. Because like you said, if you put the pads on someone and activate it and nothing happens, great. The best case scenario is great, all good. If you don't do that after someone's had an electric shock and 10 minutes later they die, technically you could have saved their life.
Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely.
That was just scary. But it was like, wow.
I think people are scared because they think I could hurt this person because I could be applying something that then and I don't know anything about them, and I don't know what I'm doing, and all the rest of it. And it's simple training, as you said. There's training courses available. I'm sure a lot of employers would love to have somebody on board who's got that training.
Yeah.
And really and honestly, you cannot get it wrong. If you press, and the machines are going to vary in terms of the complexity. As I said, the ones that Phil's have got will actually relay information to paramedics about what has occurred when the paramedics get on the scene. I'm sure there's lots of different brands and different specifications, so you can't count on them all doing that. But one simple fact remains: if it's not going to be effective, it's not going to fire. And then you might be talking with somebody on the phone about chest compressions. It's not guaranteed that the heart is going to restart, but in all the instances in which I've seen them utilised, through hearsay, that guy got a shock, because you speak with a lot of electricians, and the ones that have received it and hit that button, they're just so glad that somebody knew that what to do in that instance.
So. I mean, it's something. I've seen them in car parks and places like that, and although I don't know how to use a defibrillator, I always had it in my head. Well, they get used if someone's on the floor, unconscious and technically dead, but it gets used to basically, they will get used for that purpose as well. If someone's on the floor, putting a defib on is it going to recognise there's no heartbeat, needs to shock it to reset it to get it starting again?
So the reality is, I don't know. Depending on the machine, I don't know whether that is something that purely only a paramedic can do. And for that reason, the machines that are out there in the field, in phone boxes and on building sites and stuff, don't have that facility. But certainly in the instance of stopping somebody's heart, or stopping the arrhythmia at least, I should
which
say,
is the thing that kills people.
That is the killer. And then the heart will either start of its own volition and sort itself out. And as I say, it's the equivalent of switching somebody off and switching them back on again.
So basically, I mean, the moral of the story is, if you are messing around with, if you are working with 240 volts, and in vans, this can happen in vans. You're messing around with your 240 volt and you get a shock. You might think you're okay, or the person you're with, or the person you're away with, it might think they're okay. Get them looked. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how fit they are. It doesn't matter if they're a triathlete or they're a overweight 40-something, bloke that drinks 50 beers a day. It doesn't matter. If there's something can happen that you could help or save or stop, just do it.
First thing, don't let them out your sight. Either get them to a defib or get a defib to them. If you consider yourself the individual that would step in that scenario, like I'm sure either of us would, like,
after knowing what I've been told now, and after the shock that went through me, I was like, me personally, it was a case of, I would not have known this. So someone, it might have been someone I know, it could have been a loved one, it could have been a complete stranger, it doesn't matter. It's still a human being that matters to somebody. And if I didn't know this, I would kind of feel responsible. Like that, they've walked away and they've died, but I know
that is the worst thing, that people have received a shock, isolate themselves. The first thing they do is go where other people aren't, and that is the most dangerous thing. So, and
it goes for like you or me, or if I get a shock, it's like, first of all, right, I've had an electric shock, I feel okay, but I'm just letting you know I've had an electric shock. And then it's like, where'd you go from there? If there's a defib, put it on. Chances are it mightn't fire. If it doesn't fire, great. If it does fire, that's just saved your life.
Or the amount of shocks that they've had before, you don't harden to these things. Do you know what I mean? You don't get better at it the more you have. So it's like, I get shocked all the time. If they're in your company, you don't want that on your conscience, do you?
So 240 electrics, whether in vans or in houses or on sites, just do a little bit more research into it, because we were all shocked in that room. Every single one of us were totally shocked by the information Jeff's just told you and us yesterday, and it was like the light bulb going in the head. It was, in essence, shocking. And I know that sounds stupid, but it was. So, and
you just want to tell as many people as you know, really, don't you?
Hence why I said I'm doing a video on this, and I'm going to, it'll probably get a load of people, I don't want to know that. If there's one thing you're going to learn this week, and if it comes from this video, it's going to save someone's life, and it's not even a joke, it really will. But how often are you going to be running the courses? Don't know yet.
Don't know yet. So we did this one with generous individuals who, like yourself, who came along, give me the feedback, and then I'll put a structure in, and then put it out there in the world and see how many people. Because I've got the sneaking suspicion, because I haven't found anything else like it. I get the sneaking suspicion that it could be very popular. Hence why I'm putting myself forward to do it.
And I think it's something that if you are going into, if you want to go down the lines of build your own van, it's something that is probably the most important. Getting the electrics right is the most important. Being able to spend a couple of days in the wilderness and know that everything's running fine, that everything's charged and everything's great. But even from the basics to the most complicated of systems, you need to have a basic knowledge, which is what a lot of people haven't got. And then even people like me, like John from Life Beyond Bricks, we both got vans, we've both got big, fancy systems that we think, it's all running fine. We still learn things. And that to me is, if you're coming to something and you're going, I won't learn nothing, and then you come away and go, I didn't know that, and I didn't know that. I mean, the fact that I'm going to change fuses and I'm now openly looking at trying to find more information on defibrillators. One, I've kind of maybe saved our lives in the van because we've got dodgy shit in the back, and two, I now know about defibrillators, which I didn't know, which could save someone's life. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, so you're not going to get an electric shock that's going to require a defib off the DC side of things. So it's almost like the title of the 2 days: how not to burn down your van. And then the second day, how not to electrocute yourself to death, which sounds incredibly morbid. But yeah, on those DC isolators, I
don't think anyone's died from getting a 12-volt shock, have they?
Yeah, you'll be hard pressed to work yourself. But with mains electric,
we do have 240 in van, so it's make it something that you do this week to look a little bit more into defibrillators and get a little bit more knowledge, because and then if you are struggling with vans, get on Jeff. I'll leave all the links to the right places where you need to follow him for when he's going to be doing the courses. And if you are interested in when the courses come available, they're not going to be like, there's not going to be 50 or 100 people here. They're going to be very small.
Try and keep the classroom sizes as small as possible and the interaction up. So.
Yeah, but hopefully you're going to do other ones on site, aren't you? Like when Phil does some of the meetups and...
Yeah, that'd be the hope. We've hosted this one here as a trial, but we try and get somewhere with all the correct facilities where you could maybe have 20 people in a room but
relatively small classrooms, so you're going to be able to learn more, because there's nothing worse than going to a group with a load of people, and if you're not, you hear me in most places, so I'm not quite of asking questions, but there are some people that won't openly go, but what about this, but what else? So with a smaller group, it's a complete, and I think everyone learned something, didn't he?
Yeah.
Which was nice. It was nice for you to see people at the end of it going, wow, I didn't know that, and I didn't know this, and thank you for this, and thank you for that, and and Faith has basically fed us all. I mean, I came in the van last night at 9 o'clock and fell asleep till 4 in the morning because she'd fed us all day. So
the girls did a remarkable job. Actually,
good. I wish I'd have been here Friday and Saturday.
Oh well, you've got obligations, haven't you? So,
and I probably gone away 4 stone heavier. So I'm probably saying
we do like to centre things around food.
It was get on Jeff. Links in the description, and thank you very much. It's been
appreciate that. Thank you ever so much.
To spend time with you and learn stuff that is going to save mine and Emma's life, because I'm sure Emma will be quite happy about that.
Good. Yeah, I'm really pleased. Thanks ever so much.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.